Okie dokie. Alright, Alan, this is number 3, workout 3. Well, let's get rolling, shall we? What you're going to do first is just release your hip flexor with the roller. I did this in the previous workout, so hopefully it's fairly well known. What we're going to do is just get down and just squeeze your glute, just take your hip to extension and just roll around. So if I'm doing my left hip, I'm going between sort of noon and 10 o'clock. Right, so 10 o'clock's around to the side, noon and 10, and then I'll just squeeze my glute where I'm feeling the knot or the pressure. Just squeeze my glute, try and stretch out the hip flexor. Alright, and then we're going to go to your fronts to do your groin. So I'm just going to get into your front. I'm just slightly changed up the camera angle because I'm going to use the wall in a sec, so that's why the camera angle has changed. Alright, so I'm just rolling into your groin here, and as I'm starting at the top of my, or the bottom I suppose, of my quad, and I'm going to squeeze my glutes harder and harder as I come up towards the top, just to expose into the top of the groin there. Alright, so I'm just getting my knee nice and high. Knee nice and high. What is wrong with me? Right. Squeezing my glute, just getting in there. Right. Taking that hip to extension, and just trying to take the outside of my knee up towards the sky, right? So we're just trying to open up the hip even more. Alrighty. After that, we're just going to be stood, just doing some groin openers, just doing your lateral shifts, just getting your hip diagonal back, knee over the toe there, and just feeling that stretch into your groin. We're just going to build up really gently, right? So just like sort of 4 out of 10. Then we just sort of build it up to kind of like 5 out of 10, you know? And then, well, we're not going to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? We'll just go up to sort of 7. Keep moving around at 7 till we're nice and loose. Then we'll do a couple of 8s. Just getting nice and loose. Alrighty? After that, we're just going to be down. Just warm up your shoulders a little bit and just do a bit of posterior chain. Stretching, I suppose. Right. We're just going to raise your knees up towards the sky. What I'm trying to do here, I'm feeling a little bit stiff today, is trying to keep my tailbone up in the air. Right, so I'm keeping lower back tension, ab tension as well. And then I'm just straightening my legs where I can feel that I can keep my lower back engaged for now. Right, so I'm just squeezing up like that, lower back engaged. And hopefully feeling a good load into your shoulders as well. Alright, so we're just letting your shoulders get back in the joint, using a bit of extra gravity. So we're not trying to roll and push forward, that's actually pretty tough. Alright, after that, we're just going to try and get into just downward dog, right? So try and focus on back tension, don't worry too much if it starts to bend, especially the lower back area. I'm just going to start pumping nice and gently. Trying to focus on lower back tension, so you can go a bit longer with your stance if you want to focus on that. And if you want to just focus on sort of flexion, we can just get a bit closer. Alright, bit of downward dog there. After that, I hope the angle's okay. Oh, that's a pretty good fisheye lens, but I'll just turn it. Alright, after that we're going to go on the wall, using, well, the wall, right? So we're going to do some wall RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, single leg ones. Right, so you're going to get 2 hands on the wall, and then we're just sliding 1 foot back along the floor, and getting that full tuck into your hip, and then we're just sliding back again, full tuck into your hip, right? And we're just focusing on getting a good pull, well, it's more into the hip, well, it's obviously into the hip, right, because we're not bending over too far. After that, you are going to reach further into that hamstring heavy RDL. We're trying to reach for hip height on the non-existent wall behind us, right? So that's just hamstring tension. And we're reaching back, right? We're not trying to bend over. So it's not about how far you can bend over. It's about tensioning your hamstring, just feeling that pull, and then coming up again, right? So I was just showing you a full range, but we'll just build up towards that. Okie dokie. After that, you've got some aeroplanes. You can use the wall as well, so we're going to get into that same kind of position. Right, so this is a combination where we do that stretch where we're kind of canoeing, right? We're feeling that stretch on the outside of your hammy. There. We're going to combine that with a bit of kind of groin opening, right? On this planted leg. So I've got the planted leg, and I've got my hands on the wall like this. I'm into this kind of deadlift archetype again, and I'm going to open up my hip and my toe towards the sky. So my hips at the top here, and then I'm going to bring it round and back, feeling the stretch into the outside of my hamstring, and then I'm going to open it up again, squeezing into both glutes, trying to feel that opening up into the psoas here, and then I'm going to come back into that sort of canoeing stretch. We feel it on the outside of the hamstring. And then we're opening that up. Alright, so you know for sure, because we did this last week, that those are pretty tiring. Alright, well, the time frames for a minute. Yeah, so that's fairly tiring. Should feel great into your hip though afterwards, right? Because you've got all of that moving. Oh, it's going to be pretty tiring now, but you'll be okay. It's just good for your hip health. After that, we're into the kneeling Hindu press ups, which, well, you're definitely familiar with, right? So we're just in that kneeling position, sat back, sort of into a prayer pose. And then from there, I'm just going to brush through and push up. Right, so I've just got my shoulder blades retracted, down, right, so pulling down. And then I'm going to push the floor away, brush, and push up. Right, so here I'm holding ab tension. Yes, there's a bit of a bend, but then as I come here, I'm going in for like I'm going into ab flexions and trying to tense my abs, thinking about that, pulling back, stretching my lats out, coming through, pushing. So as I'm coming down, I'm forcing my elbows towards the rear, and every time I'm pushing, I'm forcing them more towards the side. So as I'm coming here, I'm going down, and then boom, more to the side as I come up, but not obviously fully out to the, well, a little bit. Right, and then towards the back to come down, towards the side to push away. Okie dokie, so just going to cycle through that. I know you know that's pretty tiring. After that, I'm going to give you one of these tomorrow. We're going to do some banded archery, right, where we're just going to stand up. So this is about the angle, right, so we're not trying to use your lat here, we're trying to use your mid-back, right, so mid-traps and rhomboids. So I'm going to give you one of these bands. Just going to have your arm extended, and we're just going to pull. Right, squeeze between both shoulder blades, right, so I'm working stability in this arm, and obviously contraction into that arm, or concentric contraction, isometric hold into the other arm, and then we just, so we're not quite flaring high here, still pulling a little bit lower towards the chin, right, so just feel all that work between mid-traps and rhomboids. We'll do both sides. Okie dokie. After that, you have got 15 minutes on your treadmill where you're just going to put it on a bit of an incline. 15 minutes of just sort of uphill walking. I'm going to discuss it tomorrow. Where you're going to get sort of 6 or 7 out of 10 in terms of exertion. So you're breathing sort of heavy-ish, but you can maintain an alright conversation because I'm not trying to go like crazy with this. It's going to be more progressive, right? So just over time. You don't want to kill yourself once and then be like, oh Christ, I don't want to do that again. So just do it progressively. 15 minutes, real light 6, 7 out of 10, bit of an uphill walk. You could even do the first portion, right, with not very much incline, and walk backwards, because then that will build up your knee strength, right? So it's almost like that knees over toes, kind of pushing. You can do that up there, uphill, get a bit of a burn into your quads, and then we'll just turn the other way, right, and we'll just use hip extension after that. So just building up your knee strength and your hip strength, just using that hill, right? So once you're going forwards up the hill, you can just up the incline a bit, because obviously walking backwards uphill, like, well, it's tough, right? It's really tough. But yeah, equally, I don't want you going off the treadmill, so just be careful. All right, so after that, you'll be quite tired. All I want you to do is just push the wall down, right? And just stretch out your calf. Right, so so I'm using the rear leg here, just keeping my heel on the floor. And you can also bend the knee to stretch your soleus. Straight leg for the gastrocnemius, both of which are in your calf, right? So gastrocs, the upper bit, soleus, got the Achilles there. Hopefully that'll be nice and light, right? So it's not a very long workout, right? Just going to do a bit of RDLs, going to do some airplanes, a few press ups, a bit of archery, and then bang, just on the treadmill. Half an hour. Click. All right? I hope that's all good. That is that one. See you in the next one.